So, this talk, and listening to Will this morning about, the de-emphasizing the importance of the UI, I was thinking that's really what, we've done at Dynatrace in terms of our virtual assistant technology. So this talk is really about, how we've attempted to move from a UI-centric interface to really providing data in the most convenient, most accessible ways that we're seeing our customers adopt and use. So as I mentioned, Dynatrace, shameless plug, and some of this will provide some context for some of the reasoning decisions behind what we've done. But Dynatrace is what we call software intelligence built for the enterprise cloud. We're an all-in-one platform, not a bag of tools. We give you complete visibility from the browser click down to the database. And you get details about application performance, user experience, all facets of your applications. We like to think of ourselves as a third-generation monitoring platform. So this really starts with getting high-fidelity data, understanding we don't have snapshots or sampling. We get all of your data at every level of your stack. All of this allows us to dynamically map all of your systems and in real time detect any additions, whether they're third-party services, new applications. All of this gives you complete visibility. And then at our core, we have a deterministic AI that provides causation, not just correlation. So it's purpose-built for the enterprise cloud, and it's all about getting the right data. And of course, we're the industry leader, like I said, third generation. We're fully automated, start to finish. Really, a lot of tools have built-on AI solutions. Ours is powered from AI at our core, and it scales infinitely. Most of our customers, Fortune 500, massive deployments. We support up to 100,000 plus instances. We auto-detect containers, processes running inside them. So that's Dynatrace, so it's a highly complex solution. We work with very complex environments, whether they're private cloud, multi-cloud. We have mainframe agents as well as, like I said, from the browser user activity. We see it all, monitor it all, and we've got to be able to support it all. So part of that complexity is really what has us invest in an assistant technology, and that's what I want to talk about today. So we have a brief introduction about Davis Assistant. Given the time, I just wanted to show a demo of kind of what we built, where we're thinking about going, some basics about our journey, and then some of the lessons we've learned kind of along the way. And like I said, after this session, more than happy to I'll give you my email. You can email me, you can set up a call or whatever. All right, so back in 2015, our VP of Innovation, he has it's kind of a joke in Dynatrace, but he's always talking about, current technology as being old. Saying, oh, mobile apps are so 2012, or, standard interfaces and dashboard diving are so 2015. So we were really looking at, how can we bring all this complex data to not only, we've got two distinct types of users, not only engineers, but also business owners, application owners. How can we democratize all of these monitoring insights so that people can access it quickly, easily, ask simple questions. Behind the scenes, we're generating complex queries and really serving up relevant insight, really providing answers, not more data. So that was the idea, and the solution came about. Initially, Davis, which I'll get into a little bit, our Davis AI engine, was Davis. We recently rebranded it to Davis Assistant as our AI has become the centerpiece of our solution. But Davis Assistant simply said it's a conversational interface into our Dynatrace AI. So it integrates with common applications, Slack, Microsoft Teams. This month we'll be rolling that out. Alexa, Google Assistant. We were really looking at, all right, how can we bring Dynatrace to work where people work? And we also have a proprietary UI as well and an API that people can access as well. So the purpose we're really looking at how can we enable, data-centric decision-making. How can we bring all this augmented analytics closer to people? How can we reduce, the technical debt in retrieving all of the data, reduce operational costs, and also promote collaboration. That's the other thing we were looking at is how can we, really elevate collaboration outside of looking at a dashboard. So the first, as I mentioned, there's two groups. The first group, we were looking at is, all right, we have all these application owners, business users. If you think about, your entire, the impact of everything in your solution, a marketing department may run a campaign. They're looking at performance numbers. Maybe it's less than what they think. And, a lot of times you'll see that, well, that's due to a response time issue. A user can't run through the cart and check out quickly. So, all of this, has us want to bring a solution that's comprehensive, that's holistic, and gives everybody in an organization visibility into what's happening. So for app owners and management, the kind of approach we took was, well, how can we, bring this closer to them? How can we integrate it into a voice device, a personal device in which is accessible? Whether it's, you're in your car, you're in your kitchen, you're, at your desk, you're on your phone. How can you ask a simple question such as, hey, Davis, tell me my morning report. So this is, a simple question, simple command, and in the background, our AI is analyzing all of your applications that are being monitored, surfacing the relevant indicators or problems, and also user activity. So that's quick, it's succinct, it gives you, an overview. So that's really the first type of persona that we were targeting. And, in addition to that, our core persona user group are engineers and DevOps teams. And, these personas, these users, we found also have, the same kind of convenient requirements. They want to be able to quickly access all of their performance data in the channel of their preference. But they also work very tightly in collaborative messaging tools such as Slack and Microsoft Teams. So we also recognize that data retrieval, reactive, is not the most useful when it comes to understanding problems in an application, etc. So we've also implemented a proactive messaging or proactive alerting capability, push to Slack, and also push it to Alexa, etc. But it's really that shift from the kind of reactive mode to proactive understanding before problem hits, in real time, and then being able to remediate, collaborate on the problem, and working closely with your team to be able to resolve it. So that's the two user groups, and let me move on to a quick demo. All right, so this is our integration with Slack. We created a Slack application which supports a number of things. One, it's invoked through a simple @mention. There's our Davis Assistant bot. It's personalized. And it creates a threaded view. Davis responds. Oh. What happened? All right, sorry about that. All right, this could be challenging. Gene, we didn't test this part.
Just turn off your extended display to your Windows P and just make it share just one screen.
Yeah, okay. Let me duplicate. Thank you. All right. So here we are again. So simple command @Davis, Davis responds, indicates we've got a problem. Yes? So now we're pushing all the relevant problem details into Slack. There's a link back to the application if you want more information. There's also an option to collaborate. You can add a comment. And this pushes back into Dynatrace. So really focusing on how can we bring all the relevant data to work where our users work. We've got a lot of feedback from customers that they really enjoy using Slack, right? They have development teams all in a specific channel. They're able to quickly get information about issues. We use this internally, and in a distributed team environment, you're able to quickly understand what's going on and get your details. So the other thing we've built in is more visibility. We've got a charting feature. Again, AppDex is a user satisfaction metric, 1 being ideal, 0 being not ideal. So you're able to quickly see a visual depiction of relevant information in your application. So this shows up on Echo Show as well, Google Assistant devices. Got a lot of favorable feedback about this. There's also some smart buttons that allow for quick navigation, whether you want to select a first problem, second problem, etc. You can change the time, application, etc. And there's the last 72 hours. So as I mentioned, we've got similar functionality in Microsoft Teams. Let me jump back to okay, so a little bit about the journey. We talked about focusing on voice devices. This was really around how can we bring more data to non-engineering groups. That was 2017. Then we started to notice that customers were really looking for a more integrated solution into their work tools, and that's where Slack came to be the primary interface that we're seeing users use today. 20% of people use Alexa, Google Assistant voice devices. 75% we're seeing primarily use Slack. And you think about the shift from a reactive mode, data retrieval using voice. The primary value that we're seeing is we're able to push problem identification, problem notifications to Slack, and then allow for follow-up in that channel. What else? So the next step for us, this year is we're really looking at how can we provide more predictive problem analysis for customers. Also the precision, given these large, complex environments, we're finding that there are multiple teams within organizations that they just want their data. So our product has learning profiles, management zones. There's a number of features that, tagging that you can do to really precisely identify only the data you want, and then be able to either ask about that data or get notified about it in a very specific way. We're also looking at a number of customers we worked with from Walmart, Amex, et cetera. They're looking at, all right, that's great, you're telling us about the problems, great that we can find out more about it, but now we need to take some action. We need some remediation steps. We need to integrate with our current kind of platforms and systems, whether that's ServiceNow, whether that's escalating a ticket to Jira, whether that's integrating tightly with the notification system, Opsgenie, et cetera. We need the capability to be able to tightly integrate this so that it is an all-in-one solution in which we're not just detecting problems, but we're able to action them. So that's another kind of next step for us. So I'll finish up with a couple lessons learned. So we start out with our own open source NLP, that proved way too expensive. We had a team of about 3 people that spent the majority of their day maintaining our NLP, and then we went to Amazon Lex, which provided us with the convenience of an out-of-the-box solution. However, the one thing that was a limitation is we found it didn't retain the context, which was problematic. You had to repeat it every interaction. It didn't really simulate, a natural conversation, and that's when we switched to Dialogflow, which we found to be, much superior, not only for being able to retain the context. Example, if you were to ask, hey, were there any problems in my application yesterday? And then you can follow up with a question, well, show me the first problem. Or did this problem affect user activity level? You don't have to repeat, show me the first problem in my application yesterday, right? So much better NLP we found. It's got a great UI, easy to manage intents and train the model. In terms of the voice interfaces that we integrate with, we found Google Assistant provides the best speech-to-text, text-to-speech. It's also has a better user experience we found with our customers, just easier navigation across all their devices, whether it's voice, whether it's a visual device as well. And the other key thing is it gives us back the raw text, which we're able to use for better classification in Dialogflow, and also better conversational memory. The dev experience between Alexa and Google Assistant we found to be similar. They're both fairly easy to work with. Siri and Cortana, Siri really limits custom interactions by third parties. You can't train your own phrases, you can't get the full text. You really you're challenged, right? And Apple forces you to use their own NLP. So we haven't really integrated with Siri yet. Cortana, we tried that last year. Microsoft was at an immature stage, I would say, really challenging to get support from Microsoft. However, I think that's changing. At least, so I mentioned Slack, by far the easiest application to integrate with, very dev-friendly. There's more data about the user available. The authentication is much less restrictive. We receive, our app receives every message in the channel. So you mention Dave Assistant once, remembers it, never have to do it again. In Microsoft Teams, we found that you do have to mention the app in the channel every time you want to interact with it. So we're working with Microsoft right now. It seems like they're investing much more in their app support for integrating with Teams, so that's good. We've got a lot of good collaboration with the Teams group last few months, and this is one of the high priority items for us, right? So there's some sensitivity about data privacy, but we're hopeful they'll kind of lift that requirement or restriction. All right, 21 minutes, 22 minutes. I think I did all right. Any questions? Happy to stay around. Like I said, later I'll be available as well. But thanks for coming, and enjoy the rest of the conference.